Hello, in good time zone. And what is up, gamers? Hi, everyone. Welcome in. It's lovely to see you. Hello, hello. And I've got great news for you all. Twitch has made some change to the back end. And obviously I don't look at my Twitch back end until it's time to stream. So I see that it's like, you're streaming in 480p. I'm like, that's smaller than my pretty decent webcam can manage. Why? And it's like, oh, you can stream up to 2K if you do all these things. And then it takes me to another page that I have to sign into? I'm already logged in, Twitch. What the swear words is that all about? No! Get in the bin! I don't know. So if this stream is small and potato quality to you and no one wants to watch it, well, I don't know. I suck, I guess. But I'm not futzing with God knows what that page was gonna send me to was gonna make me do right now. Because, I'm already alive. So, you know, F that noise. So yeah, that's my terrible news for the day. I hate it. And yeah. Anyways, hello everybody, welcome in. I hope you're well. I hope you're having the loveliest of lovely Mondays. I hope that you have had a wonderful weekend as well. It's so nice to be back. I've got a little... Okay, I'm having a canned beverage, so I've got a little can opening ASMR for if you want to hear the bubbles go. I'll do that now. If you don't like that, cover your ears. And I'll clap on camera when it's done. I don't know if you could hear the fizz at all, but, okay, we're back. Hi. Anyways, so, yeah, I don't know what's up with the stream resolution. I don't know if it's normal. I don't know if it's worse. I honestly just don't know. I'm gonna have to investigate after stream, but that's gonna have to happen after stream because, as I say, I only noticed that they mess things up with the back end of Twitch or make, you know, weird changes to the back end of Twitch when it's too late. So I noticed that it looks like there's some they want me to set up vertical streaming. What? Why? And I guess the next question is, if you're streaming me vertically, would you be seeing like this much of the screen, which is bad because you're not going to be able to see the full artwork or the full game if I'm gaming, or are you just seeing everything on its side? Which, honestly, is fine, because that's just the same as horizontal, except you have to turn your head. I don't know. Call me, like, extremely old-fashioned, but I like landscape. I think things are good in landscape. I like landscape, you know, aspect ratio visual storytelling. Yeah. If I'm watching someone vertically, it's because I want to see the chat. I'm trying to figure out where the chat is. Is the chat off to one side, or is it underneath? Because when I look at Twitch on my... Is this on your phone or on a desktop? I'm so confused. I would not like a vertical stream. No, I agree completely. I think... I know that, like... The vertical, you are tiny on top of. Yeah, exactly. That's like on the... That's how, like, the Twitch phone works. Yeah. I don't really, and you know, I say this as someone who's very aware of the fact that, like, you can go live on, and in fact I've watched people go live on Instagram before, and I know that, like, TikTok live is a whole thing and that's all vertical, but I feel like the things that I know about, okay, things that I've watched live on Instagram have just been like someone answering chat's questions holding their phone out. So there's not really a lot, you know, of... I'm not going to be watching somebody playing, you know, like, a landscape-oriented video game, for instance, in vertical, because what's the point? You're just cutting off, like, 2/3 of the picture. It's like, oh, okay, so the player character's on this side of the screen, I just don't get to see what's happening in this entire cutscene. Amazing. You know, that just seems stupid. And then I've heard about some TikTok live trends that just honestly sound unhinged, and a lot of it seems to be shopping. A lot of it seems to be either shopping or gambling. It's like, oh, you know, this brand has gone live and you can buy a lucky dip of their like crystals and you might get a really expensive rare one, except you're not. They all just get them in bulk from AliExpress. Like, it's all cheap. It's all crap. You're not going to get anything of better quality than you paid for. It's gambling. It's gambling and you're just being scammed. Anyways, either that or people who are like, oh, we've got this big balloon and I'm gonna pop the balloon. Do you want to see me pop the balloon live? And people watch that and give them money. And I realized that the reason that these exist, and they're just continually putting it, they're like, okay, we got 50, whatever they call, like, bits on TikTok. Okay, if we can get another 100, then we'll pop the balloon. And they keep, you know, sort of raising the stakes over and over and over again. It goes on for like 7 hours and they don't ever pop the balloon. And this is just a thing that happens on TikTok Live. And I realized, I don't have TikTok, by the way, so I'm finding all of this shit out secondhand. But I realized belatedly, I was like, wait. Because then I remembered a friend of mine from back when I was in my early 20s, don't talk about your ages chat, and I had a friend who, with the potato quality webcams and streaming that we have at the time, I mean like 7 pixels by 7 pixels, and it would move at about 2 frames a second, but she would get on her webcam and people would pay very good money to watch her pop balloons. I think you can guess why, based on the context I have provided here. Yep. Oh, anyways, so yeah, there is really nothing of import or interest that is a vertically oriented live stream for me, and I don't think any of the things that I'm doing are particularly conducive to a vertically oriented live stream, and maybe that's why I am not out here making the big bucks. But also, I'm not popping balloons on TikTok. That is, no, thank you. No, no judgment if you enjoy that. Incidentally, this is from that respect. This is a judgment-free zone. It's just not something that I am comfortable having people witness. I'm talking too much. I should stop talking. So how's everybody doing? How's your day going? How was your weekend? I hope all of those things were good. I am once again incredibly warm in here. I didn't think it was that warm today, and then I sat down in the studio without a fan, and I'm like, oh damn. Were mistakes made? Potentially they were a little bit. Oh no. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I am going to prep some paint. So I'm on the. We have reached the funky little details phase of this painting, and I'm switching from just using the pastel shades paint pan set to some gouache paints because I think that they layer better. These pastel paints sometimes lift when I try to layer them, which is really cramps my style. So if I can avoid that, I would love to avoid that. And therefore, I'm going to see if I can find... No, that's not... Shoot, that's red. I need green. I need green and relations of green. E.g., not you. Probably, yeah. Leek green for starters. And I want to kind of muddy it down, so I might add a little bit of like a dark brown if I've got it to some of the leek green. I'll pop down a little blobbit here. Because I want to create some more... I'm not super happy with what I've done with the grassy texture at the back here. I feel like I can do something a little bit different. And hope that it still looks good. I don't know. Anyways, I do like the actual like paint texture beneath it though, so I don't want to fully lose that either. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet down this brush a ton. And I'm going to take what I have here of this leek green, and I'm going to add a little bit of our pastel watercolor set to it. We're just going crazy with just putting, I love gouache. It's, I don't know if I spelled it, says Advent. It is a hard word to spell, but it's Gouache. Gouache. Near enough. Aoife says, hey, Sammy, hey, everybody. Hey, Aoife, wonderful to see you. Welcome on in, and how are you doing? How are you doing with your absolute bumper crop of figs, by the way, if you don't mind my asking? If you do mind my asking, I rescind the question, but I'd love to know. As for me, I have no bumper crops of anything. I had to throw away 150 grams of beautiful British blackberries yesterday, which were still in date and in a nice, cold, comfortable section of my fridge. And in that nice, cold, comfortable section of my fridge, still well within date, they started to grow fur, and so they had to be introduced to my very distinguished housemate, Signore Garbaggio. And now they're becoming the very best of friends, I guess. But much to my sadness, because I was really looking forward to those blackberries. Let me tell you, it was very sad that happened. So annoying, so annoying. I shouldn't have to like eat anything that I bring home within a day. Like, our fridge is nice and cold. They just decided to be furry. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. So sad. That's one of the things, like, just that, that said, I do think that it's, you know, what shall I say? I came from a household where, like, we did not like to waste things. We definitely did not like to waste food. But on the other hand, like, I do know more about food science and food safety than back then. And, like, no, I'm not just going to cut off the moldy edge of the block of cheese and then eat the rest of the cheese, because once there's visible, it's bad. It's bad. You don't eat that. You don't eat that. I don't care if it's wasting food. It's also wasting food if it gives me, like, you know, the explosive poopies. That's wasting my digestive system on food that makes me sick. I don't think that is not negotiable for me. You know what I mean? Anyways, sorry for that. Oh my goodness. Aoife says my whole house was sticky. I made around 50 liters of preservatives. That is one giant fig tree. Started harvesting at 7 a.m. on Saturday and was done with cooking at 7 a.m. on Sunday, and then I slept till today. Oh my goodness, you have been so busy. That is truly incredible. And I love for you the amount of stuff that you have arising from this that you will get to enjoy. That is so nice and so fun. Truly amazing stuff. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm adding some more of this brown because I feel like it's still a little bit too... I just want it to kind of... I want the green at the back to kind of recede a little bit because it's a little bit further away, so it should just be a little... like it's kind of going away from us, you know what I mean? So it wants to have a little less vibrancy than what's happening up top. Okay. And now I can ruin it by trying to figure out how to add some more texture. Oh, that is okay. That is not hunger for attention. Happy birthday, Aoife! Oh my goodness, congratulations on being born. I'm so happy that it's your birthday and I hope you have an amazing day. Do you have anything exciting planned? Have you done anything fun? I hope you're treating yourself to something extra special today, because that is so super cool and I'm so happy for you, and I wish you a very, very, very happy birthday indeed. And thank you for spending some of your birthday with me. Oh my goodness. Like, jeez. Yeah, happy birthday indeed. Yay. Oh, that's awesome. I was cleaning the stickiness of my house. I mean, I guess you do have as a birthday present to yourself, like just an insane amount of like fig jam, which is very exciting. I would buy some preserves if you were real, says Edmund. Silly. But also, yeah, for real. Because I'm sure it's amazing. Anyways. Okay. So, how am I gonna... I'm trying to figure out how to make this not look quite so, like, incomplete without then, therefore, like, ruining it. First of all, I do think I want to get just a nice, slightly cleaner line between, like, hill and sky. So I like a bit of a line situation. Because I think that's neat. I might just add in some sections that are, like... just some blobbits of slightly more color, really. Slightly darker color. But I'm trying to be kind of mindful about it. Aoife says, my granny, bless her heart, when I reminded her today that it is my sister's and my birthday, said, what? You have the same birthday? First time I've heard that. Oh. That's adorable. Absolutely delightful. Absolutely delightful. I do hope that you have had so far and are continuing to have a wonderful day. That's really lovely. I am just vaguely coloring in this. I think I was trying to make this little sort of like shape over here better, and I think in so doing I actually made it worse. How did I do that? Oh no. It just keeps getting bigger, and it's like the texture is worse. Okay. I think looking at that, I don't wanna mess with too much else. So what I might do is just kind of maybe just right here. Just kind of. Because I really like the texture of this hill. I just feel like it's a little bit of a nothing burger in the background happening. So if I can just give it a little bit more gubbins, I suppose. And you're very welcome for the birthday wishes as well. Of course. Okay. Trying not to. I think I need to not mess with this too much. Maybe I should have just added some more grassy doots. I don't know. Maybe I will add some more grassy doots with just a slightly more pigmented version of this. And just kind of This must be very tall grass because we are quite a distance away, but that's fine. Actually, yeah, I think I'm onto something here. I think this is working for me a little bit better. Okay, cool. Yay! I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these kind of patches that I've painted in and add most of this extra grass to those sections. And then kind of maybe leave the rest of it for now. I'm going to leave the rest of it for now. I'm going to not futz with it anymore. Just in the interest of not over-painting things. Because, you know, you very much can over-paint things. And I don't... Advent says, they are not wishes, they are my demands. You better have a good birthday. Whoa, okay, don't threaten each other, chat. Am I going to need to... We're gonna need a timeout. Are you gonna need to chill? Oh dear. I think we're okay. But anyways, I'm trying to think of if I did anything interesting this weekend. I worked on a commission that I've got at the moment that I really need to get done. Oh goodness. My commissioners, be patient with me, and I do appreciate that, because man, sometimes it takes a minute for me to do a thing. And I think especially when I know that like a person is relying on me to create something according to their vision and they believe in me, it's just, it suddenly becomes so much more important than me and my stupid little doodles, you know what I mean? It's like, oh man, someone believes in me? Now it has to be like super ultra extra amazingly excellent good. Otherwise, like, I'll never be able to live it down, you know? Which maybe is silly. I don't know, but that's in my heart. And here we are. I am taking this green that we have here, and I'm now adding a little bit of yellow to it to kind of light brighten it up and make it nice and springtimey. This leek of green was already like nice and springtimey. It's sap adjacent, but it's not quite sap. But I'm just gonna brighten it a little bit more. Yeah, I think this will work nicely. Okay, and I'm gonna try and get some kind of texture into here before I fill it with flowers. Anyways, but yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? What was my point? I'm sure I had one. I'm sure I did. I should probably actually look up what on earth, try and remind myself of what violets look like. Might be a good idea, because if you don't know, we're painting this little scene, and I should probably bring these girls up for a little close-up for y'all if this is your first time seeing this painting in progress. We are painting a little picnic for these two little lady loves. These are a couple of 19th century hamsters, excuse me, who, they live together in this house up here. Neither of them have ever married. They are very, very, very good friends, and the tender passion conveyed in their letters to each other is borderline things that would probably be a violation of TOS, and I will say no more. But anyways, that's my way of obliquely saying, as a, you know, a crappy historian, that these ladies gay. Anyways, I'm looking up violets. Not that we're going to see them very well because they're going to be teeny tiny in the field, but, you know. Let's look at some pretty little violets. Oh, aren't they delightful? Here's some, yeah. Here we go. Here's some happy little violets. Aren't they just the cutest? Aren't they just the loveliest? As always, the camera is not picking up this shade of purple adequately, and, that's annoying, but, you know, whatever. It is also such as it is. So I'm just gonna, I've got a couple of little blades of grass sort of poking out around the house up here, and I've got a brush that is much too wet, and therefore I can't get a really good fine line on, but that's okay. And I'm gonna just, well, first of all, I think I am gonna line out this hill as well. Well, I haven't done the line weight on the tree trunk yet, but I'll do that. I'll do that when we get to doing shades of brown. Let's do all of the green stuff that's left first, I think. Okay, someone's got a lovely pair of, like, periwinkle bloomers up there, which I think is very cute. But anyways. Aoife says, I used to work in research for the flower breeding company that first managed to breed violets with cat whiskers, like spots on their faces. Oh, that's so cute! Also very impressive. Oh, man. I was gonna say I miss doing research, but actually, no, that's not true. I do research all the time. I just do research for stupid things like my YouTube videos. I would miss, speaking of, I have a YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, you can do that right there. It's just my username again, but over on YouTube. And in my experience, it is weirdly annoying to try and like look up, depending. Like, because I also have a super secret second channel where I mostly just host the VODs of these streams for people who want to see them, which I don't know why you would, but people do, and, you know, hey, everyone watching the VOD, hi, hello, I'm impressed that you're still here, and I'm very grateful. But yeah, what was my point? I did have one. VODs, YouTube channel. Oh yeah, I do research for my YouTube channel, but it is a bit of a pain in the backside sometimes, because, like, there are things where, you know, having institutional access is extremely helpful, and there are some things that I am able to access, which I'm extremely grateful for, but then there's some stuff that's, like, paywalled, and I'm like, yeah, I'm making zero money on this, I'm not paying for that. Or, you know, just because it's me, things that, like, oh, there's no digital copy of this available, but there's a physical copy in a library in a different country. Well, I guess I'm not accessing that either. And then me occasionally reaching out to potential sources for research information and getting ghosted because my channel has 200 some odd subscribers, and therefore probably they consider it not worth their time, which is probably true, but also makes me feel bad. Anyways. Well, that being said, speaking of research and reaching out to people, a much bigger channel than my own released a video, I think last weekend or the end of last week, that where he was talking about, so he's got this series where he travels to different like manufacturers of, like, independent companies and stuff making foods and stuff in Canada, and, you know, sort of shows, like, a peek behind the curtain of here's how blah 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 is made, and this is this company, and here's what they do, and, you know, it's kind of a nice, like, mutual sort of educational opportunity, and also a little bit of promo for the brand, right? Like, it's cute, it's nice, it's celebrating, like, independent Canadian makers of foodstuffs. I love it. But there was a bit in one of his recent videos where he was talking about how there was this, like, brand of chocolate that he was using in his chocolate chip cookies, and how he just found this brand, and he found out that they were based in Canada, and so he reached out to them in the hopes that they'll be, you know, part of this series, and if it is, then that video is going up, you know, sort of around the same time as the baking video, and yeah, apparently there was not a video about that. And, so someone in the comments asked, and I love that he left that in the edit, because he could have just, like, cut out that whole bit, right? But someone asked in the comments, it's like, so, is the chocolate company video forthcoming? And he's like, no, they ghosted me. So it turns out what happened was they thought that he was a journalist, and they were all sort of like, yeah, on board, come check out our whatever. And then when they found out that he was a YouTuber, they ghosted him. And I'm like, no. But honestly, that's, like, better advertising for your brand. I mean, you know, like, I just think that's so sad. I don't know if they just think that, like, oh, this is, like, nothing, or he's gonna be, like, a terrible YouTuber, or they think he's gonna do a hit piece. I don't know, but it's just, like, it's just such a weird choice to me. But yeah, anyways, let me catch up with chat. Aoife says, I later worked in research for a hybrid corn company. Oh boy. But yeah, the flower breeding research was the best job I've ever had. Sounds amazing. The hybrid corn research was the worst job I ever had. I'm not surprised. Corn is wild and flowers are beautiful. If I worked in an archive, I would give you your information, says Advent. Thank you. I don't actually know what Jonathan Sims does. I know that's like a podcast that my friends listen to, and I'm like, okay, because I don't have room in my heart for more podcasts right now. It takes me so long to get through, like, an episode, because I really only listen to podcasts when I'm, like, on the bus. But it sounds like a nice time. I, as someone who used to work in a library for many years, I'm here for like archivists. It's very good if you like horror. Oh, good, I don't. Oh no. Well, I feel slightly less bad about missing it, but I'm super pumped for all of the people I know, because I know multiple people who are really big fans. So I'm sure it's very, very, very good. I do not like horror. I am scared. My brain comes up with the most horrifying scenarios just in and of itself when I'm trying to fall asleep, so I tend not to consume much in the way of horror media because I'm already too scared. Like, no, thank you. I am baby. Um, ah. I like Star Trek has a couple of good horror-ish episodes. I like those. That's enough for me. Anyways, um, ew! Oh God! Eva says I was once spat in the face by someone for having said corn job. I'm now still friends with that person. Oh my God! That's that's an interesting response. I mean, that's an interesting response. I probably wouldn't recommend it since Advent. Most of them aren't that scary, but there's such a variety in 200 depths that one is sure to scare. Yeah, I'll pass. I'll pass. I've had friends who like have run a horror themed RPGs, and I've always sat them out. Because I'm again baby. I like, I like a softer experience, I guess. I mean, I guess sometimes, like, I listen to a couple of actual play D&D podcasts, and I guess sometimes they get a little bit scary, but it's like, I don't know. It's like the safe favorite flavor of scary, because I also know that, like, that's not really a dragon. That is, like, a 33-year-old man named Brian who's just playing pretend. Because, you know, like, unlike a full cast sort of narrative style, audio drama, they are just like constantly breaking character and talking amongst themselves, so it's not so bad. But I am. Ooh, speaking of video essays, I have started watching a 4-hour-long video essay all about Starfleet Academy, and when I tell you, I'm digging it. I still haven't finished watching all of Starfleet Academy, so please no spoilers for the ending of the show. I will tell you, because I think this is 2 episode synopsis to be a spoiler, in case you haven't seen the show and you want to. And if you like Star Trek and you're not a horrible person, I think you might like it. I genuinely do. I think you might be skeptical, like I was, about it's about, like, you know, student-aged people, doing school and stuff, but it's really fun and good, and I think it lives up to the Trekkiness of it all very, very well. But I'm on the episode where the one guy is meant to be, like, marrying this lady, and he's kind of feeling some kind of way about it, and his bestie, who's, like, the Klingon boy, is there, and being delightful. I should finish that episode. But the thing is, I usually watch Star Trek when I'm doing, like, off-stream stuff here in the studio, either sewing or artwork, and I haven't really been in the studio doing that much over the last few weeks because it was really hot, and then I've just kind of been recovering from the fatigue of it's really hot. And then also just being paralyzed by the, like, sort of there is a sword. It's a metaphorical sword, okay? It's not a real sword, but it is dangling above me right now by a filament, a near unseen filament. It is so fine. It is hanging over my head. And I have no idea when the sword is going to drop, and it's really bothering me. And what I mean by this is the stupidest way I could phrase this. What I mean is, there are at some point, so I don't own, like, the building that our house is based inside, and the, like, management company that manage the building that I live in, and the sort of associated area, because they own, like, sort of all of the buildings in this area, they are They are replacing the windows on the buildings, and we have been advised that this is happening at some point. They've got scaffolding up in front of like other properties, but they haven't started scaffolding our property yet, and we've been giving no dates as to when work is being done on our windows. And I need to, make sure that like there's access, I suppose, if they need to access like the windows and stuff from inside the building while they're doing window stuff. I don't know whether or not they do. This has not been communicated to me very well, so I don't know whether or not, like, do I need to clean my house? Do I need to have a completely tidy, completely empty home so that they can walk around and do stuff? Because I've got a lot of furniture that's, like, next to the window, and there really isn't anywhere for it to go. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know how to do it, and I don't have a timeline, so I'm completely paralyzed, living in continuous fear that this is happening at some point, and I don't know when it will be, so I am not able to start because I cannot initiate the task until I have a timeline to work to, and they've given me 0 timeline. And frankly, at this point, I would rather simply perish than deal with any of this, because I absolutely hate at the best of times having strangers inside my house. It scares the crap out of me. Not just because, like, oh, it's a strange person, and what if they're creepy, but more like, they're a strange person, and what if they get, like, muddy boot prints on my kitchen floor, and think that just because, like, my house is slightly untidy, that it's okay for them to make whatever the hell mess that they want, which it's not. Oh my god, wipe your damn feet. We have a light-colored carpet, and I do not want to have to freaking Swiffer up after you. Which I have done. And I'm not happy about it. But then also I'm scared of strangers judging me because my house is, frankly, an ADHD depression pit. I know this, There is so much semi-built Warhammer and half-finished craft projects and shelves with Lego and things that just don't have a space because I don't have the storage space to store the things that I have and need. And I don't want strangers to experience that. Because, like, if you grew up in the kind of household where, number one, you came from a stock of working class immigrants who did not throw things away that had potential future usage, because, like, that's still good, we can reuse it, throwing it away is wasteful, and then you proceed to not use it because you bought a new one, but you can't throw away the old one because the old one's still kind of good and you could fix it, but you didn't. So it's just there. Anyways, Katie, thank you so much for the 7th stream steak, by the way. Thank you for the 7th stream steak. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for the 7 steaks. I hope you enjoy your 7 steaks. I hope they're delicious. I hope you enjoy them with whatever steak sauce you prefer. Steak sauce is a thing. I hope you enjoy them with a yummy steak sauce. But yeah, I come from a long line of, like, working class immigrants who didn't like throwing things away if they still had a use. So it's like, I can't throw away these clothes I can't wear anymore. Even if they're too worn out to donate, I can't throw them away because I could, like, the fabric, some of the fabric is still good. I could use that as cleaning cloths. I never do, but I could, so I can't get rid of them, right? Combine this with also having an attention deficit and regularly misplacing things, and sometimes misplacing things down the back of furniture that you can't move easily, to the point that you just buy a new one because you don't know where the old one went, and then eventually you find the old one and you just have 2 of them. Anyways, Advent's lurking good. Marching band camp. Have a lovely marching band time. And thank you for the lurk. Katie says, ideally the workers should be using shoe covers when working in a customer's home. Whether that happens is a separate issue. I have never had anyone come into my house in shoe covers, Katie. Not once. Not a single time. Most of the time, I don't mind. But when they do leave muddy boot prints on my kitchen floor, I get grumpy. I do think some people come into a house and they're like, this house isn't like the most pristine environment I've ever been in. Like, there's a bit of dust, there's a pile of things in the living room, therefore I don't need to care about being neat and tidy. I can just kind of make a mess, right? And I've definitely had that happen with, like, I don't know if that's what they're thinking, or they're just like, I don't care, I'm going to make a mess. Because, like, what are you going to do about it? But I definitely had that happen with, like, people come around, like, to clean the boiler or do, you know, sort of, like, fix the boiler. And just, like, you know, it's like, oh, there were a few dishes on the side where they needed to, like, put their tools or whatever. So they just, like, chuck the dishes. Oh, that was the thing. That was the thing. Okay, so, you know when you wash your dishes. This happened to me once. You know when you wash your dishes, you, so the way that our dishwashing experience goes is that here, the dishes that need to be cleaned and we can't get to straight away go on this side. It's kind of in front of the boiler and it's a little bit inconvenient, I guess, if you're fixing the boiler, but it's right there, right? And then there's the sink. The sink is where the dishes get washed, and sometimes dishes sit in the sink. I don't like this and I don't do it, but it still happens, and I it's fine, whatever. And then there's the drying rack, where the dishes that have been washed sit until they get put away or used again. To be honest, I tend to reuse the same dishes over and over and over again, so they usually just go from the rack to being used to back to the sink and then the rack again. So they never get put in a cupboard, because if they get put in a cupboard, I just don't use them. Again, I love having ADHD. If things get tidied into places with, like, doors or lids or otherwise are, like, invisible, I forget I own them. It's a whole thing. But this guy's come around to fix our boiler, right? Because our boiler was kaput, and I do appreciate that someone came around at short notice to fix our boiler. That was fantastic. But I think there were, like, a couple of mugs and plates on the side, just, like, right next to the sink. And he moved the dishes that were on the side next to the sink, presumably because he needed to put his tools there to fix the boiler, which is, you know, just sort of on the wall, sort of just over to the right of that. And so he moved them, but he moved them to the drying rack. And so next time I went to, like, pull out a plate or a spoon or a mug or something, I realized, thankfully, before I, like, served food on it, that was a dirty dish. At which point, I had to wash all of the dishes in the rack. I had to wash all of the dishes in the drying rack again, because I couldn't be 100% sure which ones were dirty dishes and which ones were ones that we'd actually washed. Because some maniac who coincidentally is a boiler expert took our obvious dirty dishes that were waiting to be cleaned in the sink and then put in the drying rack and put them in the drying rack where the queen... Sorry, I'm getting agitated about this again, but is that not the... Is that hinged behavior to you? Because that is not hinged behavior to me. And this is the kind of shenanigans that happens when you let strangers in your house. I don't like it. Advent says, I also live this way. My drying rack is always full of my favorite dishes. Yes, exactly, yes. It's because they cycle back out before they get put in a cupboard. Exactly. Anyways, Q2's aloha to you too. Happy but exhausted as heck from the weekend. How are you? I am likewise exhausted, but mostly just from a general sense of fatigue that never seems to abate. But otherwise fine. It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. I've just been ranting for the last, like, 30 minutes. I do apologize, chat. I will try and simmer it down. This is a cozy stream for cozy times. I'm going to take a sip of my biotic soda, which is hilarious to me. But, you know, it's relatively low in sugar and it tastes refreshingly of rhubarb. And I do prefer it to, like, you can get, like, flavored waters and stuff that technically have, like, no sugar or no sweetener, but then they also... If something is, like, a sweet flavor, like fruit flavored, and it has nothing that, like, that your taste buds register as, like, a sweetness, just tastes weird and wrong to me. You know? It's just like, something's off about this fruit flavored thing. I think it partially just tastes less, but it also just tastes incorrect. because my taste receptors are picking up flavors that should be associated with sweetness, but there's no sweetness to them. So I prefer this to that. It's not like, this isn't as like, you know, sort of sweet as like a regular soda, but it's still like sparkling and fruity and a little bit sweet, and I like that. It's nice. And it also has added fiber. Oh god, apparently fiber maxing is a term now in food marketing, by the way. I just, you know, can we not max our nutrients? Don't max your nutrients. Just eat a balanced diet of things that, you know, like your body can tolerate. That's enough. Don't fiber max. I mean, do try and get your recommended daily amount of fiber. Whether that's like the standard amount, you know, you might have certain medical issues which mean you have to have more or less, and, you know, just be mindful of that, I suppose. But if you're just an average adult, you know, you should be aiming for about 30 grams a day. So maybe just do that. Anyways, cross-contamination in dishware. Yeah, it's just, I literally just had to wash all the dishes again. Not cool, not cool. Why would you do that? Literally, just honestly, just take them and move them to a different countertop. Put them on the countertop, just, you know, sort of like on the other, like, opposite that countertop, because we have sort of a galley-style kitchen. So just put it on the opposite countertop in front of the microwave. Who cares? And then put them back. You know? If you put them in the dish drying rack, then I just have to wash all the dishes. Gonna go out on a limb and say Mr. Boiler Fixer does not do the dishes in his house. just gonna guess. Fiber maxing, says Katie. War on protein. Oh my god, somebody make the madness stop. Thank you very much, Advent. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for hanging out. But yeah, because, like, protein maxing was the thing for quite a while, apparently, and now fiber maxing is a thing. And I did notice, like, the amount of products that are, like, protein this, protein that, protein the other. I mean, be prepared for whatever is being marketed as a protein product to taste worse, as is often the case. I do buy these, like, tortilla wraps that are technically high protein. I don't buy them because they're high protein. I buy them because they are gluten-free and also have like 6 grams of fiber, which I do appreciate, because I am over 40, but I'm not fiber maxing. I'm just trying to eat well. And I do notice that my body is less happy when I'm not eating enough fiber. Just have some beans and fruit. Just have some beans and some fruits. It's nice. Anyways, and potatoes. Have some potatoes. Potatoes are great. Sweet potatoes are even more delicious. Oh, I love sweet potatoes. Anyways. Finally, putting some tiny doot-doots of grass onto the field. You're welcome. Look at me remembering how to paint. Anyways, these hamsters will not let a contractor into the house unless they are wearing protective footwear. And frankly, I love that for them. They're delightful little hamsters. Anyways, I never did figure out what their names were. I don't want to... See, I wanted to add more grassy texture to this, but I also don't want to overdo it because I didn't want to, you know, sort of cover up too much of the, nice, like, painterly textures in the grass because I think it looks really nice. Katie says, I don't know if y'all import lettuce from the US, but a specific farm company has been linked to the lettuce issues making folks sick here in the US. I have heard about that. And thankfully, no, the lettuce, at least the lettuce that I buy, and I think the lettuce that most people buy, is grown here in the UK. But for anyone who does have, like, imported American lettuce, do take a look into that. Do not get yourself sick on lettuce. Eating lettuce is good for you, but only if it doesn't give you, dangerous, you know, viruses and pathogens or bacteria or whatever the heck is causing the issues with the lettuce. Something contaminant. Contaminant, that's what I'm looking for. Contaminants that make you unwell. Oh boy. I don't know if they've issued a recall, but I sure wish they would. Because that was extremely unpleasant, I'm sure, for a very lot of people. And it is super frustrating when it's things like lettuce. The kinds of things that we should be encouraging people to eat more of. You know, salad. And it's like, oh, you know, please do not buy lettuce. Homegrown lettuce, much safer, says Katie. Hell yeah. We have my moderator / spouse and I tend to buy Little Gem lettuce, which is grown here in the UK, and also just has such an incredibly cute name. It's a little gem. How adorable. It's also cheap and a nice size, and a little bit more dimensional than an iceberg. I do like an iceberg in certain contexts, though, it has to be said. I like an iceberg in certain contexts just because it's got the crunch, you know what I mean? I grew up under the notion that iceberg lettuce was not really, you know, a good choice because it's kind of nutritionally void and doesn't really have a lot of flavor. But man, it's so crunchy. And sometimes you really want to have that lettuce specifically for the texture, you know what I mean? Like shredded iceberg in, like, a taco, and it give it that crunch, and then there's the bean and the cheese and the taco sauce, and it's just, I'm having taco rice for dinner tonight, which is one of my favorite Japanese foods, ironically. Actually, no, I do love Japanese food, but Okinawan food is very, it's a very unique cuisine, as part of Japan. And taco rice emerged, like, in the early 80s, I think, from, like, the sort of American influence on the island, and it's also just really delicious. You take lovely steamed Japanese rice, and you put taco meat on it, and then nice crunchy shredded lettuce and cheese and tomatoes, and it's good. You can put whatever you want on it. I will be putting I'll be putting lettuce and tomato and cheese, and I have a bottle of Taco Bell sauce, which is very exciting to me. I brought it home from Canada the last time I was there, and I opened it a few days ago, and like, it's stupid. It's fast food sauce, right? It can't be that good. And yet, I just think they nailed the seasonings. They just nailed the seasonings so well, and it's really nice. I'm sorry. It's just good, okay? Please don't dislike me. I'm right. Anyways, I need some, I think I'm gonna do the lines on my little hamsters' outfits and stuff, because I need some purples to make violets, because we're going to have a little background of violets. But I see that ads are going to run in about a minute and a half, so what I will do is I will decant a little blobbit of our Edo Violet color, and I'm gonna do two violet variants here. So I'm gonna have just the Edo Violet, I think, and then I'm also gonna combine it with a little bit of this Quin Violet. So we have like a blue violet and a red violet. So to give our violet situation a bit of dimension, a bit of interest. and because they're both really pretty. So there we go. Also, I just think quinacridone violet, it's one of my favorite colors of paint, I think. It's so pretty. It's one of those ones that just makes my eyes feel weird in a nice way when I look at it. That sounds odd and off, but just trust me, it's nice. But yeah, anyways, ads are about to run though, so I am going to pop you onto the BRB screen, and we will be back very, very shortly with more painting and stuff. So thank you for sticking around. I'm sorry if you have to see ads, but you're not going to miss anything. And I'll be back in a couple of minutes. So BRB, everybody. Aw, hell yeah, we're back. Hi, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. It's nice to be back. I hope to be a little bit less unhinged and ranty for the rest of the stream. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about getting a little bit thinky about stuff what annoy me. I shall endeavor to do that less for the remains of the stream. Did I somehow add way too much water to that? I feel like I somehow did. I don't know how, but that absolutely looks like it's what I did. Great. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to add more paint to it now. Heck. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. Doop. Cool. Okay. Got a little more. It's all good. Anyways. But yeah, I want a couple purples because I need to do the line weight on this lovely lady's outfit, but I also I want to have some dimensionality to our little violets out there in the field that I'll be doing in just a second. So I'm going to take what I've got here and I'm just going to bring in a little bit of my pastel shades again. I'm going to bring in a little bit of my, I think it is just called, yeah, it's just called lavender. I'm just going to blend that in with my Edo Violet. So it's just a nice, slightly softer version. But it does want to have a little bit of weight to it, especially since these little hamsters are, you know, are the heroes of this piece. So I do rather want their you know, their selves. I want themselves to stand out, damn it. So this can have a little bit of a weight to it, and that's a good, yeah. I am picking up a little bit of my, I think it's Orchid Pink. It's Orchid Pink. I have these paint sets. I don't know if anyone else here has worked with these like Derwent watercolor sets. They're super useful for like if you just need something quite small to work with. You don't want to, you know, if you're going someplace or you just don't want to mess with tubes, that kind of thing. They're very useful. I like them for some things, and I don't like them for other things. But what I don't like is this little sort of parchmenty, plasticky, papery sheet that they give you that has all of the colors, because they've swatched out the colors for you, but because these are printed on, you know, using like whatever type of printing software technology they have to print onto this gubbins, it's not ever going to be an 100% accurate representation of the actual colors. And I think that, you know, like this looks so much less vibrant than like the difference between this and that is quite dramatic. Some of them I think are pretty well represented, but like it's not good. It's not you still have to actually paint them out yourself, or you're not gonna know what they look like, which just seems a little bit silly to me that we did that in the first place then, you know. It's an interesting, I mean, I understand they want to supply you with that, but I think better to just have, like, to just provide you, say, with, like, a little piece of, you know, some nice, like, watercolor paper, hot press, cold press, I don't care, but just like a sheet of watercolor paper, or paper that you can do watercolors on, that has maybe just the little, like, swatch squares and color names printed on it, and then allowing you to actually swatch out in those squares the different colors. So you have, you know, you have a sheet that has, like, the names and stuff printed on it, sure, but it also, but it is going to be a 100% accurate reflection of what the colors actually look like, which this simply is not. Like, this is not as brown as the actual one. This isn't as green. You know, like, this, and the rest of them just aren't nearly as vibrant. Like, the yellow, this is like nothing. This is so dim and unbright, and likewise this is like, there's nothing, like, there's nothing. But the actual peach that it comes from is like this really vibrant peach. So it's such an unhelpful waste of printed matter to me. It's just really, so it's just really weird, I guess. It's just really weird that they did that, and I just genuinely think it's not a particularly useful way of presenting these things, you know what I mean? It's an interesting choice, and I don't like it. I think that's my summary there, is it's an interesting choice, and I don't like it. But yeah. Okay, just sort of getting a little shading in sort of the underside of that skirt. Okay, so that's all I think oh shoot, no, that's not all the line weight I needed to do in those colors, because I just realized I needed to do the armhole of this lady's little waistcoat. So let me also do that. Also, now that I'm thinking of it, I actually think that it makes more sense for the waistcoat to have a bit of kind of a turned down collar-y type feature. So I'm just gonna pop that in there because I think it's cute. But yes. So anyways. So that's that. Okay, now off in the distance, our little violets are literally just going to be like, because they're so tiny all the way up there, which makes it real easy for me because I just need to do this. Just need to kind of touch paintbrush. And get some little patches of lovely little violets here and there. But then as we get closer to the foreground, obviously they're going to have a bit more, they can have a little bit more shape to them. And their shape, they're still very small here, so, but their shape is kind of like that. You can't see that. That's not in focus at all. Come focus. You can barely see that, but it's kind of like that. So let me let me show you. So you can hopefully see from this, they've got like 2 and then 3. So a little sort of 5 petal, but it's not like, it's not quite sort of up and down symmetrical. And they're very cute. And so I'm trying to replicate that, but also, again, they are still quite small. So if you can't fully see all that detail, like, I'm not going to panic about it. It's fine. But yeah, anyways. Hoping that we can get this done today, and I probably shouldn't be too hopeful about that, because I'm realizing that it's like, we've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm nowhere near. But that being said, there isn't actually all that much left to do? Question mark? Not sure. I'm not sure if I'm too concerned about worrying too much about what direction the sun is moving in at this point, and how much I need to sort of add shadows and that kind of thing. But I feel like I probably should nod to that in some way, shape, or form. But just sometimes when I add shadows to things, it just makes it look worse, which feels bad. So, you know, I'd rather not make it look worse, ideally. But sometimes that's because, again, this paint can lift if I'm not careful, and I don't love that for me. So, being a little bit careful with that if I can be. But, whatever. We'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. Just, basically, my fear is more often than not, when I have a painting that's kind of looking okay, of doing something, like, additional to it and just, like, wrecking it. You know, that feels real bad, weirdly. So I'd rather not, you know, ruin my painting, but, but I do want to make sure that we've got, you know, a painting that looks good. Yay. Anyways, does anybody else get real stuck on that sometimes, of like, do not wish to ruin painting, or do not wish to ruin things in general, like when you have like, when you have a sketchbook and you don't want to wreck it. I just got a very sweet text from my moderator / spouse, so I'm gonna reply to him real quick because I love him. But when I get a new sketchbook, it's so hard for me to actually start sketching in it, because it's like, no, the sketchbook is pristine and nice, and if I start putting ugly drawings in it, then it'll be ruined. And the way I solved that with one of my sketchbooks was literally on the first page, I just drew a butt. And I'm just like, after that point, it doesn't matter what I do with it, because my sketchbook is pre-ruined because the first page is a butt. So I stopped worrying about, like, is this drawing worthy of the sketchbook? It's like, it doesn't matter. The first page of the sketchbook is literally a bum. So, like, do what you want. It's fine. And that honestly really did help. So, you know, hey. These strats do and can work really well, actually. Do recommend. Okay. Alright. So we've got some of those violets. And now, I'm gonna do some of these violets. It's the same again, but a different, a slightly different shade of purple. And hopefully that will be a nice combo. I don't know if you're really going to be able to tell how different these purples are in practice, but I know. And maybe that's the important thing. There we go. Funky little patches of purples. Imagine if we called them purples instead of violets. No, don't. That's stupid. Why did I say that? Ugh. Sometimes I say things and immediately regret it because it's a stupid thing to think and say. But oh well. Anyways. Maybe a couple more over here. Hell yeah. Okay, and there's like a patch over here where there's no flowers. So let's add a couple up in here. My moderator / spouse asked what my favorite flavor of iced tea is, and I said lemon. He said, I will enjoy the peach one I got then. I said, you're welcome to share. I like peach too. Anyways, Aoife, thank you very much for the 5-stream steak. Thank you. May you enjoy your 5 delicious steaks. Whether they be meat steaks or plant-based steak alternatives. I don't care. A tuna steak. It's all good. Alright, how many, is this enough? I feel like this is sufficient amount of violets to make you feel like there's violets scattered throughout this hillock. So I think I'll leave it there. I don't want to overdo it. Actually, no, I'm taking it back. So I'm gonna do, I don't like that there's only 2 in this bundle. I'm gonna add some more over here in the other shade of purple. Because I can. Maybe another one just there. Okay. I'm gonna stop futzing. I'm gonna stop futzing with the violets. I'm gonna call it there for the violets. I think the violets are good. I like the violets. I think they establish what I want them to establish. So that's all delightful. Next. I need... No. Different colors. I was just having broccoli with beans and mint pesto, says Aoife. Now I'm having vanilla pudding on red wine figs with black currants, so I guess plant-based steaks. That sounds delightful. Your culinary exploits always sound so good. So nice. I'm having, I did mention this earlier, I'm having Okinawan-style taco rice for dinner tonight, and I am genuinely very excited for this because taco rice is very, very good. If you have not had taco rice, it is really good and honestly really easy to make too. It's as far as cooking goes, pretty straightforward. You steam some rice, you cook up some taco filling. In this case, I'm using corn mince, and I am seasoning it with, honestly, you could make up your own taco seasoning blend if you want to, but if you're me, you just use a packet of Old El Paso taco seasoning and you sprinkle that on it, and you cook it to perfection with a little bit of olive oil, and then you put it on a bed of Japanese steamed rice with some shredded cheese and some lettuce and some tomatoes and some taco sauce, and I might even add a little drizzle of yogurt in place of the sour cream because I never have sour cream in my house because I don't use it often enough to justify owning it. And yeah, that's that. Okay. Now I pulled out this red because I need to make pink, but that is more complicated than just the light red because this red needs a little bit of assistance to arrive at a nice deep pink. Namely, I'm adding some purple to it. As a violetologist, I say your violets are fantastic, says Aoife. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. That's very kind. Okay, first off, I'm going to pull out some of this pink flamingo from my pastel palette. And I'm going to mix it with this bad boy. More flamingo. This is one of the things that I really have kind of beef with from this palette, is just any water you put on these pans are so bone dry that they just like suck up any water that you put in them. I don't know what kind of magic gubbins these things are made of, but they just absorb and absorb and absorb, and they take and they take and they take. It's a lot. And this lady is absolutely wearing those, like, what they would have called like a split skirt or even a bifurcated skirt, but what it actually is we all know it as secret pants. It is those very wide-legged trousers of the late 19th century that were so voluminous that they could be mistaken for a skirt. However, they're a lot easier to go bicycling in than an actual skirt would be. So, so love that for her. She is an adventurous lady, for sure. She is adventurous, as she is adorable. And these two, again, this is important, are in love. Okay. Once again, stealing some orchid pink. If it lets me pick up any of this ding dang paint before it just soaks all the water inside of it and I never see it again. But also having a brush this tiny makes it really hard to pick up any of this paint, because my brush is so small that it holds very little. But I don't want to dirty another brush just to do this, so here I am, kind of just stuck with making a mess. Yay! Okay, so her blouse is actually this lovely shade of soft orchid pink. But then she's got a little collar that's like a little white collar. I might pop some little lacy details onto the white collar. I think that would be really, really cute. I've got a little sort of ruffled neckline and sort of sleeves on our little wife here. I hope is cute. I think this is coming along quite cute. I hope it's coming along cutely. I don't know, but I hope so. I realize I haven't really done any I guess I'm gonna have to leave the shading until after I've done the lines, which is kind of actually a little bit backwards for me, and I don't know why I didn't think of that, but listen, your streamer is tired, okay? I might not do a ton of shading on this one, and sometimes that's okay. It doesn't have to be any one thing every single time. It can be whatever I feel like, whenever. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah. Anyways, oh, I wanted to. Can I tease y'all? Can I tease y'all with a clip in my upcoming YouTube video? In case you're wondering just how interesting my next YouTube video is going to be, here's a clip that I filmed. Wow. I hope you like milk. Okay. Anyways, I'm finished the first pass of edits on it. I'm working on part 2 of the edit now, which is where I start adding all of the interesting sort of footage and b-roll and stuff to it. So that's going to be fun, and hopefully y'all will like it. And hopefully my next video won't take as long, because I've already filmed most of it. So also there's that. Yeah. I wish that I was producing more YouTube videos more frequently than I do. I have so many ideas that I just haven't had the opportunity to actually put into practice yet, just because it takes me so long to do them. Because the circumstances around which I'm actually able to, like, film stuff and, like, edit stuff and have time to do these things around the other, responsibilities that I have on any given day is, it's not a ton, y'all. It's really not a ton, and, it's quite a time, like, editing is honestly quite a time-consuming task, like, it really is. So, these things, little bit time-consuming, and also a little bit, don't have much time to work on them, and it's very frustrating to me, because it's like, it's a sort of paradox of, like, my channel is not going to be able to, like, grow because I don't have time to dedicate to making more videos more regularly. And that's it. My channel isn't going to grow because I don't have time to dedicate to making more videos more regularly. That, I guess, yeah, that's it. But I would like my channel to grow, but in order to do that, I have to have more time to do the things, but in order to be able to have the time to kind of maybe put away other responsibilities to do the thing, the channel has to be big enough that it can kind of sustain itself, you know? Like, I don't know, if the channel was, like, monetized and earning me any income whatsoever, I might be able to justify spending more time on it for that reason. But I can't because it's not, and I only have so much time that I'm allowed to spend in a day not doing things that I'm, you know, drawing a small salary for. Because unfortunately I need to pay the bills. Anyways. It's one of those things where, like, there were a couple of YouTube channels that my moderator / spouse and I used to watch, because they do like reviews of, like, camera equipment and stuff, and they were quite good at sort of cinematography, that kind of thing. And one of the things that they would do is they would, you know, sort of compare, you know, sort of, oh, this DJI blah 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 to the new DJI blah blah blah, and, you know, do that kind of thing, or like this camera or that, and that was really interesting. But then they would also do things like, just talking about, like, what's stopping you from, like, just motivational talk that ends up coming across as not very motivational at all, because, like, this guy is out here, like, what's stopping you from, you know, just, like, actively pursuing your dreams as a filmmaker? You know, you'd, like, and on the one hand, it's encouraging, you know, he's saying encouragingly, you know, like, you don't have to have the most expensive equipment to get into filmmaking. You can honestly do really, really good stuff with, like, you know, these days, like, a smartphone and some really good software. Like, you can still produce good video with that. And that's true. But a lot of the sort of what's stopping you from, you know, sort of pursuing your dreams as a filmmaker ends up sounding like money. The answer is money, Maddie. It's money. It's money. You know, what's stopping a lot of people from pursuing their dreams as a filmmaker, and not just talking in terms of, like, having the most expensive equipment and blah, 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 pursuing their dreams as a filmmaker, but, like, it's about having to, like, money. One of the things that money can buy you is time. Being able to take time out from other things, you know. Like, I might be a slightly unusual case in as much as I also have, frankly, still somewhat unaddressed, like, disability stuff that means that I'm not able to put the same number of hours into a day as someone who has nominally, like, the average energy levels of, like, a 42-year-old, right? But then on the other hand, I'm aware of the fact that I don't have children. So maybe it balances out that, like, if you're a 42-year-old and you have kids, again, you don't have the, you know, you're missing some of those hours in a day. And so, yeah, what's stopping us is money. It's money. Because, you know, a lot of people come home from a week of doing, you know, sort of 35 to 40 hours of a job and don't have the energy to then cook and clean and look after, you know, sort of anyone that they are responsible for caring for or whatever, and then have the energy to go out and, like, learn filmmaking. So the answer is, what's stopping? It's money. It's money. It's not that you don't want it badly enough. It's that sometimes it's you know, a Sledge, my dearest darling, says money can buy you Warhammer as well. Not sure that's relevant, but still, it's true, and it does in this household regularly. And I love and support you pursuing your interests, and making you and doing something that makes you happy. I really do. Also, there's a figure around here that has that figure been primed? Because I do owe y'all a mini painting stream at some point again. Also, Pigeon, hi, welcome, and it's lovely to see you. Hello. I hope you're well. It's lovely to see you, and hi. But yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, money. It's somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody said, and this ticked me off so much. No primer yet, too warm for airbrushing. Oh, that's right, of course. Yeah, in that case, don't worry about it, sweetheart. It can wait until, like, October. It's fine. I have so many other things that I actually have to paint in anticipation of my, like, autumn shop release that I'm not going to have time to do it until the autumn anyways. But yeah, someone said that, like, oh, you know, like, you have the same 24 hours in a day that Beyonce does, and the answer is no, you do not. Because you know what she has that, like, 98.9999999999999 recurring forever and ever percent of people do not have? Is managers and assistants. Nannies. A personal chef, probably. Like, she doesn't have to drive to Aldi and buy her own, like, value range Cheerios equivalent. You know? Like, so no, you have a very different 24 hours in a day to what Beyonce has. So, I'm not alleging that she doesn't work hard. I'm sure that she does. But she's got so much money that she doesn't have to worry about filing her own goddamn tax returns. She can hire somebody to do that for her. Me, I can't do that. Because I have no money. You know? Like, no. She has staff, nannies, chef, laundry people, etc. Yeah, exactly. My moderator / spouse and I have to take out our own recycling. She doesn't have to take out her ding-dang recycling, so no. She does not have the same 24 hours a day as you do. So that is a stupid thing to say. That is unmotivational, and it's just not true. It's just, like, that's the difference. I'm not saying, you know, like, hey, you're poor, give up. But I'm saying that this kind of motivational talk just fundamentally ignores, misses out, is ignorant of the fact that people who have lots of money are able to afford themselves certain privileges, which also buys them additional time. That, you know, like, working people and people with disabilities that, you know, affect their ability to have the same amount of active hours in a day, that kind of thing. People who have jobs and disabilities that affect their hours in a day, as is unfortunately often the case, don't have that. So, like, just stop it. Stop it. Anyways, Lego Stream 1 says Sledge. Ooh, that's a fair point. Yeah, we do have some very cute Lego that is going to want to get built. That's a great question. I should do a Lego stream soon. Assuming people want to see that. I hope so. Otherwise, I'll just build it all by myself. But yeah. Katie says, someone who has to drive themselves versus someone who takes public transport versus someone who has drivers all have very different 24 hours in a day, says Katie. Yes, exactly, yes. You know, like, I'm aware of the fact that I have the privilege of not having to, like, go out to work most days a week. Which is really helpful to me because, oh my god, if I were having to leave the house and commute to an office 5 days a week in my current condition, I would probably basically just come home at the end of every single workday and go directly to bed. I don't think I would be able to do anything else. So yeah, different set of hours in a day. Good lord. Anywho. So that's that. I think it's time to brown. I think it's time to brown this painting a little bit. Shall I pull out a brown? This is umber. I'm gonna use some umber. Shit signal in town. Speak later, babe. I love you so much, my sunshine, and I hope to see you soon, and I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out in chat. That's my moderator / spouse, everybody, by the way, in case you're wondering why I'm expressing quite so much love, and also expressing the fact that we very clearly live together. For anyone who doesn't know, Twitch user Sludge Callier over in the chat there is my spouse, and we are married. He's also a moderator on this stream, so behave. And I love him with all of my heart. Oh. Anyways. What else has been going on with me? I've been continuing to recreate the cast of Star Trek Deep Space Nine on my Tomodachi Life Island. It's so stupid and I love it so much. Today Lita joined. I named it Pretzel Island. Lita has become a resident of Pretzel Island today, and I'm very, very excited. It was a chore trying to nail her voice, because I'm trying to now, obviously, you know, sort of all of the voices in the game are kind of various sliders of TTS, which makes for some very funny stuff, but I'm trying to, as much as like I can't get the characters to sound exactly like themselves because they all have the same kind of English accent, which really only the one character who sounds the most like himself at this point is just like Dr. Bashir, because he is played by an English actor, and so that's just his accent. And I tried to use the various sliders to give a little bit of sort of like an Irish-esque intonation and lilt to Chief O'Brien's voice, but everyone else is just kind of vaguely English, and it's very confusing and weird hearing like Worf be like, "Hello, my name is Wolf." You know, it's like, what's happening? Yeah, I created Lita today, and she looks really funny, and it's very fun, and I look forward to unsuttlingly sort of pushing her together with Rom and getting those two to get married. So that'll be fun. Anyways, Katie says, one of my care providers wants me to learn to drive. Ooh. She's like, independence and adulting, goals, other positive things. I'm like, bruh, I have no effing energy for that. That is totally understandable, Katie, and very much a mood. Driving is a super useful skill, but it's also, not only is it a skill, it's one that, like, I have basically written myself off as a person who shouldn't drive, because of my, neurotype. I don't feel comfortable driving, and I'm also aware of the fact that, pending any paper diagnoses, I would also have, increased insurance monies to pay, if I did do that. But also just, I'm aware of myself. It's not necessarily that I don't trust myself to be a good and attentive driver, it's that I don't trust other drivers to be good and attentive, and if someone does something unexpected, I am a little scared that I'm gonna be slightly too skittish and, like, panic. And that's not great when you're operating a quite powerful motorized metal box, so pass. But also, yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to do when you drive, and it is definitely an energy sink. 100%, Katie. And you know your energy levels better than anybody else. So, yeah, can see that being, you know, on the one hand, I'm sure that, like, you know, your care provider is like, hey, this would be really useful for you, but also, you know yourself best, and if you know that, like, I'm gonna struggle super hard if I try to do this, then don't do it. don't do it. I hope that there's some public transit where you live, or, you know, sort of otherwise abilities to get around. But yeah, sometimes I wish more, and I know in some locations, I'm looking at you, large swathes of North America, it's not necessarily even really a choice, but God, I wish more people had the self-possession to recognize that maybe they shouldn't be driving. Obviously, you see it in cases of people who are, like, older and have been driving their entire life and maybe don't recognize the fact that, like, their reaction time isn't as good as it used to be, or that they're more likely to have, you know, the issues that might affect them while they're driving because of general sort of health as they've gotten older. But what was my point? But also some people who just shouldn't have learned to drive in the first place because they're just bad at it. Katie says, I live in the US, so public transport is generally a joke. Yeah, I do live with someone who's willing to drive me places. That is very good, and I'm very glad to hear it. But also, I'm very sad to hear that your public transit situation is not... It's not ideal. I feel that. I understand. Where I come from in Canada, it's like, it's not awful, and I'm very grateful that that's the case. But also, like, compared to places here, especially, like, bigger cities and stuff, it's just, I mean, like, the big cities, certainly, in Canada are okay, for the most part. I'm given to understand, I did watch a video a while ago where, the presenters were comparing driving versus walking versus public transit in, like, a big city in Canada and trying to figure out, like, what is actually the best option in terms of, like, getting around a city. But the city that they picked was Ottawa, and apparently, at least at the time, this was a couple years ago, so I don't know whether or not it's improved or gotten worse, but apparently at the time, anyways, their metro rail system was really bad and unreliable. And they were like, of all the cities you could have chose, you chose Ottawa, which has, like, the worst public transit. The people yelling in the chat, like, why would you pick Ottawa of all places? Oh, no. The city where I went to university, which is Waterloo in Ontario, it only had buses when I was there as a student, but apparently sometime after I moved to the UK, they got, like, an LRT trammy kind of system, and I still haven't been back to see it because, well, to be honest, I have no reason to go back to the city where I went to university, so it has not been a priority. Though there has been, like, most of the times when I go visit, my folks are like, hey, maybe we can take you to Waterloo and you can ride the LRT. They know me so well. It's like, hey, there's a rail-based public transit system. Do you want to investigate? The answer is probably gonna be yeah. I'm so cool and not boring at all. I'm going to Germany for a couple days next month, and I am, can you believe it, looking forward to experiencing some public transit. I am especially looking forward to visiting some public transit stations that are cute, because I'm really boring. Also, I learned that the Technology Museum in Berlin has like just a bunch of old trains and planes that you can look at, and I'm just like that's gonna be fun. Also, there's, like, a terrace on the roof of the museum where you can look around, and you got a really nice view of sort of the of some railway tracks and nearby station. And so I'm just like, we have to go to there, right? I'm so so boring. Yay. Ah. I feel like having such an interest in like rail-based public transit systems as I do. It's a good thing that I moved to Europe. Because I think like this interest has always been there, but it's definitely like I have increased the interest since moving to Europe. But also there just wasn't a lot to enjoy where I'm from in Canada. Because like my former city of residence did have a railway station, and oh my god, the commuter rail service was pants. It was super bad when I lived there, in as much as like it barely existed and it was really expensive. And now it exists a little bit and is not mega expensive, but it's still kind of a colossal pain in the backside, in as much as it's a city of a comparable size to Oxford and a comparable distance to Toronto as Oxford is to London. But whereas here, I can get a train at most every half hour into London. There, it's like, all right, you have a train every hour for like the peak commuter hours of the morning, and then just no trains between 9 a.m. and noon. Like that sucks, right? That's terrible. And then there's like a train at noon and then another train at like 3. That's a little bit bad. Especially for a city of like, in well into the 6 figures. I don't know how many thousand, but it's well into the 6 figures. It was 100 some odd thousand when I lived there, and that was over 10 years ago. So it's bigger than that because they keep building subdivisions. But who needs a rail service when everyone just, lives in the suburbs in the south end of town, just closest to the motorway that will get you to the Greater Toronto area? Whoop-a-doo. No, that sucks, actually, because that means everyone has to find parking in the Greater Toronto area, and I don't love that for them. That also sucks real bad. But whatever, I guess. Whatever. Okay. Okie dokie. I'm trying to make many and various like beiges and browns for line weight here that match the beiges and browns of the beige and brown things that I have to line out, and it's not easy making browns, actually. They're so nuanced. They're so nuanced, and there's so many of them. Oh, no. Okay. But, I can make some picnic. I think this works okay for the picnic basket, I hope. I'm not doing a perfect basket weave here, and I hope you'll forgive me. Because, for a basket weave, it needs to be going sort of over, under. And I'm just going to kind of hatch it out. Because, doing like a full weave effect here would be, I would probably give myself eye strain. And I don't want to give myself eye strain, so I'm gonna not do that. There we go. I think that's basket weave adjacent. Let me just bring this a little bit closer so you can actually see what I've just done. I feel like that's basket weave adjacent, right? I hope that's basket weave adjacent at least. Anyways, essentially, who needs public transport when everyone has cars? Yes, exactly. It's again, this is like an actual paradox. But it's that kind of like, oh, we don't need public transit because everyone has cars. But, like, the reason everyone has cars is because there's no public transport. So I'm sure lots of people would actually really, really love if there was some kind of functional, bus or rail system, but since there isn't, they drive. And if there was one, they might drive less. I don't want to get back into it because I've talked about this on stream so many times, but I think that's the excuse for not investing in public transit, being that everyone drives anyways, and therefore it's okay for your public transit to be ass, is like, okay, yeah, but if your public transit was good, people would use it, If you build it, they will ride it. Genuinely. But it has to be good. If you build it and it sucks butt, then yeah, no one's gonna use it. I was hearing about recently, apparently Los Angeles is, so I haven't been to Los Angeles since, I think, 2015, I think is the last, no, 2016. So I haven't been to LA in like 2 years. 10 years, sorry. I haven't been to LA in 10 years. The last time I was in LA, the public transit was okay. I didn't actually take the metro anywhere. There was a metro, but what I heard from friends who did travel on the metro, that it's slow as molasses and doesn't really serve enough locations, which is part of the reason that I didn't use it, is that it didn't go from the places I was to the places I needed to go. So I took the bus, which went from the places I kind of was near to a still annoyingly long walk from the places I wanted to go to. So, it was not great. It was not Los Angeles, I think, of all of the major US cities that I have experienced, is the least public transit-y that I have experienced, at the time anyways, but apparently, they are working on re-establishing an actual public transit system that works, serves a whole bunch of locations, will ease car traffic congestion, and just make it a much easier, better city to get around. And oh my god, I would love that for everyone who lives in LA, because I have heard okay, so it's a 20-minute walk, so it's like a 5-minute drive. So I could, asking yourself, okay, do I make the 20, because 20-minute of a walk is kind of annoying, so maybe I should just do the 5-minute drive. But the problem with the 5-minute drive is that you spend, at least 10 minutes looking for a parking spot, and then the parking spot that you get is a 10-minute walk away from wherever it is that you're going. So it ends up taking longer than it would have just been to walk in the first place. But also, walking in LA kind of sucks in places. So, what's a dinosaur to do, I ask thee. So I hope that the public transit provision in LA continues to grow and thrive, and that people use it. Most importantly, that people use it, and that it is good enough for people to want to use. That is my wish for them. 'Cause yeah. If you have public transit but it's shitty, nobody's going to use it, and then you have no incentive to improve it because the rider numbers are bad. I don't know. Fix it. Anyways. So, good on LA for being like, hey, maybe it sucks that we're so car-based, and we should do something about that. I mean, LA has the problem in the first place of being, the sprawliest city, because apparently actually pre-World War II they did actually have some pretty good public transit, and then they just after the war they just went full automotive, motorways, yada yada yada, in that direction. I'm not 100% sure why, but apparently they sure did. And yeah, it kind of sucked when I've been there and have had to take the bus to I wouldn't want to live in LA anyways. At least the places that I've been in LA, parts of them were there were some areas that were cute and not unpleasant, places with little coffee shops and that kind of thing. Places with streets that you felt like you could walk down and it was pleasant, and then there were places where it's just I feel like I've been walking for 9 hours and I haven't gotten anywhere. And Or like, oh god, the amount of that's the other thing, the amounts of like places that are just set up for cars. And I think this is definitely not just an LA problem. I think a lot of, especially North Americans, will recognize this. Any kind of shopping center that's set up for you to not have to walk across a giant car park, you just park up at the one shop that you want to go to, get back in your car, and then drive to the other shop on the other side of the car park. Nightmare stuff. I hate it. I hate walking across car parks. It's the worst. Anyways, it's ad break time, so I'm going to stop talking now. Have a nice ad break. Where's the BRB screen? Where's the BRB screen? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. BRB. Okay, I'm back. Hi. Thank you for sticking around. It's nice to have returned. Hello. I'm really bad at this, but I'm trying to be better. So I'm going to let you know that this stream has been brought to you by me. I have a shop. You can get all kinds of stickers and prints and what have you there. Here's a link to it if you're interested. If you like these hamsters, there's 2 prints of them in other situations. Not this one, because it isn't done yet. But I might put it up there when it's done. If I like it, we'll see. Remains to be seen, but whom's just to say? Not I. Not yet, anyways. Depends on whether or not I absolutely wreck it within the next few minutes. But anyways. Public transit isn't as much of a thing in these guys' era. I mean, obviously it exists, but the motor car doesn't exist yet, so certainly the bus as such as it is also does not really exist. So what passes for the public transit for them is probably just like a coach, like a horse-drawn coachy situation. When the heck was it's the early 1900s that we started to have cars, but even then, did we really have that many cars? I don't remember, but I don't think it precedes the 1900s. And these 2 precede the 1900s, so I think they would have been in some sort of horse-drawn coach. Oh yeah, I also have a tea, by the way. I brought this over in the last break and I forgot to mention it, but I do have a tea today. This is blue raspberry, believe it or not. There's a bit of a history to this tea, in as much as this is a tea that like this tea company sold like years ago, and it actually brewed like the color blue, and then they discontinued it, even though it was a very, very popular tea. But they also discontinued everything else that they had that was a blue beverage or that had the blue pea flowers in it. I don't know what happened to... I assume that there was some kind of... I don't know whether it was a supply issue or a regulatory issue. If anyone knows anything more about this than I do, that like blue pea flowers were a thing that was in a lot of teas, and they had a blue raspberry tea that brewed up blue, and then they stopped selling it, and they brought it back in name only because it does indeed brew this kind of quinacridone violet color because they don't have the blue pea flowers anymore, and I don't know why. They never, the tea company never said, and I don't know whether or not they're still available in other things, but but it's still raspberry flavored tea, and it's really nice. I'll be back in just a second, chat. My moderator / spouse has just come home. Yay! Darling.
Have you drank enough?
I'm drinking right now.
A pint of bitter.
No, thank you. Did you have a nice day? Was your day okay? Did you go alright? Yay! Thank you. I do like the peach tea very much, by the way.
I only had like 1 bottle of that, and that was it.
Well, thank you so much. Can I pop it in the fridge? I'm gonna pop it in the fridge. I do have a large glass of tea. Thank you very much. The taco rice, the rice of the taco rice is in the fridge cooling. So that'll be ready to get did after stream. And I love you very much. Yay! Hi everybody, I'm back. I was just greeting my person. Hello. I returneth. But yeah, anyways. I was thinking about, I mentioned earlier that I have been still having a silly fun time on my little Tomodachi Life Island, and I have toyed with the idea of doing a Tomodachi Life stream, and I think I mentioned this on an earlier stream, that my one biggest struggle with it is I don't know, like, who would I create for us? Because I feel like I could attempt to create these little hamster ladies, but they would be cursed. I did one of the first characters I attempted with the character creator screen in the game was Terry the Forg Mage. And it was cursed, but not like in a fun way. It was just like, oh no, I can't do it. So I didn't do it. Katie says, London Transport Museum says horse-drawn omnibuses were a thing alongside horse-drawn trams. Yes, indeed. In regards to Victorian-era public transport. Yes, indeed. There was some interesting innovations in getting around but still having to use literal horsepower, which I think is really, really fun. But yeah, getting around London, because London has for many a century been a pretty large city. And it definitely expanded a lot, like in the 19th century with industrial whatnots. Hi, baby.
It's just unfortunate the horse-drawn aeroplanes never took off.
My moderator / spouse, I don't know if you heard it, just said, it's just a shame that horse-drawn airplanes never took off. It's just, I think it's really hard to get them to get the horses to, like, run exclusively on their back legs and flap their front legs fast enough to actually get, airborne. Skill issues is my moderator / spouse. I am picturing this now, though, and it's very funny. Hi, bees, welcome in. I bet the horses would love flying. I bet they would. They'd have an amazing time. Up in the clouds, having a good one, enjoying. Oh man, and you would for sure, normally, like, fueling aeroplanes is the standard fuel, but you just get to give them, like, little snacks. Little snacks that horses enjoy, like apples and, horse snacks. Sorry, love?
Peanuts, they already had them on the plane.
Heck. But yeah, I think horses generally like an apple snack. So they could have a little apple snack for sure. I don't know how many apples it would take to fly from, say, like, Chicago to New York City, or from, London to Edinburgh or wherever, but, I feel like it would be quite a lot of apples. Unicorns and Pegasuses were a special interest for you around 10 years old, I guess, says Bees, and stickers. Ah! Love it! That reminds me, I had a My Little Pony sticker book. I think they maybe still do these things. I don't know. But they're like, you get, like, the booklet, and it has, like, stickers of, like, the different characters and things, and possibly also, like, tells a story through the stickers, but you have to, like, buy the stickers in, like, blind packs of 4 stickers or so each. So inevitably the sticker book ends up never being completed, and you end up with a whole bunch of repeats and stuff. And I remember you could actually, like, send a letter to the company requesting, probably having to pay for the stickers that you were missing. But, like, who did that? I never did that. Katie says, I want to write that in a fantasy story now, like Pegasi doing the pulling or something. Please do. I want to read that. That's so delightful. The absolute whimsy of it. Yes, you should do that. I love it. Please do it. Yes. Yeah. Most definitely. Absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. Please do. Okay. I'm going to I'm going to just get some line weight on these little sticks. I don't know what to call them other than stick. The poles holding up the washing line. That's the word I was looking for. Sticks? The sticks? Oh my god. Hi, Freddie. Welcome in. It's lovely to see you. Bee says I'm very precious about my stickers. I never want to put them on anything because I really like the sticker and the thing I put it on might not last. Oh my god, same. Same. I mean, I know I sell stickers in my shop, !shop, if you want to check it out, by the way. Like to anybody who might be interested. I did mention it earlier, but I'm mentioning it again because I'm trying to get better at it. That I do have one. But I also, like, I love stickers. I love buying stickers from, like, my artist friends, especially. And I am also extremely averse to sticking a sticker onto a thing, 99% of the time. I take the stickers and I just put them into a little folder and I look at the unstuck stickers and I go, oh, they're so nice. And they make me really happy, but I do not I'm very bad at actually enacting their intended usage. And it's really interesting because I do have people sometimes like purchase stickers from me and then tell me like, thank you so much for the blah 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 sticker, I wanted to put it on my water bottle, or thank you so much for the yada yada sticker, I wanted to it's attached to my stand mixer now, or wherever they have put it, or it's on my journal. And it makes me so happy and excited to hear where my stickers end up on people's things, but also, you know, I know there is not a 0% of people who, like myself and like bees in the chat, will acquire a sticker and love the sticker and never stick it to anything. Because no, it's not for sticking, it's just for looking at and loving. Obviously. Anyways. So yeah, that's me and my weird stickeriness. But not that weird. Because I'm not alone. And it's a totally normal way to enjoy stickers, thank you. Anyways. I hope you are all well. I hope you all had good weekends. I've already more or less forgotten what my weekend was. Oh yeah, my weekend was largely editing Suite for my next YouTube video. I'm going to pop another link to that in the chat, incidentally. If I can remember how to do it. It's YouTube. !mark YouTube. My gnome husbands are carefully stored with my favorite stickers, says Bees. It's for having. Oh, that's very sweet. I'm so flattered. I am so flattered to be among such good company. I really am. That's really sweet. Okay, I'm gonna pick up some of this, what they call coral pink, but really it's like orange. It's orange. It's a peachy orange, and I'm gonna use it to line the peaches in my picnic basket. Because these ladies are having some delicious peaches and some cake and some tea, and I love all of that for them. Okie dokie. Okay, there we go. We got some peaches. Yum. And I should probably do the lines on the what's it called? The flask of tea that they've got as well. So I'm just gonna steal some of this brown, because it's just easier because it's right there. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't question the weirdness of the shape of this bottle either, please. Please don't. I'll cry. Anyways, it's fine. Oh, thank you very much for the 30 stream steak, Freddie. Whoop whoop. Please enjoy your 30 delicious, delicious steaks. Thank you so much indeed for hanging out with us. 30 streams in a row. My goodness gracious. Freddie says, I heard someone once say they made a sort of removable cover for their laptop, specifically for sticking stickers on so they could swap out sticker covers or store them away. I'm still confused exactly how it works, but it sounds wonderful. That sounds great. Love it. Katie says, I feel like a Pegasite-powered vehicle would fit nicely into a genre called gas lamp fantasy, essentially the other side of the steampunk coin. Ooh, yes, fun. That sounds very fun. I like it. I like that a lot. That sounds genuinely very delightful. Okay, I'm gonna take a little of this peach. I'm gonna blend together a little bit of this peach with a little bit of this ochre brown, and I'm going to use that as the slightly golden outlines on this little wodge of Victoria sponge, which looks extra delicious now. Yay! I fudged it sometimes with watching VODs, but I was here mostly those 30 times, says Freddie. Aw, thank you. Also, I hope you enjoyed the VODs that you saw. I do wonder sometimes who watches VODs, because apparently they're, you know, there's not unreasonable numbers for the VODs sometimes, and I'm like, damn, who's watching this? Who wants to go back and watch these after they're live? It can't be that interesting. But apparently, people do, and I'm like, what? But also, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop now. Oh no. Which one is this? That's orange. No, I need blue. I need blue. These are all, like, neatly stored in boxes, so I keep having to, like, open each box to try and find colors whenever I need a color. It's a little bit struggy, but that's fine. Doop. Okay. Just a tittle bit of this ultramarine, but not a ton, because it's not quite the right blue, so I'll need to kind of blend it up anyways, but never mind. Anywho, it's also, oh man, it is so warm in here. It's so warm in here. Okay, there we go. I think I have the perfect shade of lines for my cup and saucers. Zizzes. Okay. So now I'm very carefully lining my little teacup. Thus, doing an okay job of it, I think. And there's, oh good, I can hear, oh no, people are talking outside, which annoying from the perspective I don't want outside voices to be picked up on my stream, but also annoying from the perspective of if I can hear voices talking, it's really hard for me to actually know that I'm speaking in a coherent way. Does anybody else get that? Like, really struggle to, like, actually speak when there's other speech happening, like, that you're hearing? Like, I'm trying really hard not to listen to things, but it's really hard for me to, like, hear things and not listen to them, especially if it sounds like human speech. My ears just go, like, and, like, zero in on it. Even though I know it's not speech that I want to pay attention to. Sometimes it's speech that I'm, like, actively trying not to pay attention to. But my attention is like, no, you have to pay attention. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. I actively want you to not, but it's like, no. So annoying. Freddie says, sometimes it's easier watching VODs because you can't answer anyway. Like, when I'm sewing or doing certain ceramic things. That is a fair point, well made. There are definitely times when I'm just like, I will watch VODs of things rather than someone that's live, because I know if I'm watching something live, I'm going to want to contribute to the chat, but I'm really busy, so I can't. And then for someone who streams, I'm not super active in a lot of other streamers' chats very often. I do a lot of lurking, and maybe I need to be more active in other people's chats for, like, I don't know, networking reasons, but I can be quite bad at it because, like, it's more social, and I've socialed myself out by streaming 3 times this week, you know? Oh no! Oh, beans! And then sometimes I just need to be, like, disciplined and be like, I can't talk in this chat, I've got stuff I need to get done! I'm busy, which is also, again, struggle. So yeah, I get that. B says audio processing issues, and yes, absolutely. I hear you on the audio processing stuff. I am, it turns out, not great at it. And I think one of the things that made me realize that actually maybe my audio processing is not as optimized as most of the other people around me was Do you have you ever had the experience of someone has said something to you and you didn't catch it, you didn't understand it, you say like, you know, what, or pardon, and then they start saying the thing again and you cut them off and answer halfway through? Because it turns out that you did hear the thing, it just took your brain like a few extra milliseconds to actually catch up to like process what you'd heard and understand it. Because I get that. It's probably really frustrating to the people around me. And you know, occasionally there are accusations of like, oh, you're ignoring me, or you're not listening, or whatever. And it's like, I would love to, but my brain is bad. And sometimes my brain, despite my best efforts, sabotages my ability to like hear and understand. And it's not personal, and it's not deliberate, and it's not me being difficult or not wanting to do a thing or ignoring someone. It's just, I absolutely heard all the things you said, and I did not retain a single one of them because my ears and my brain don't speak to each other perfectly every time. And I feel like it makes me seem like someone who's not a good listener or who doesn't care. And I feel sad when people think that about me because I'm trying really, really hard to be a good person. And it makes me feel like I'm not doing a good enough job sometimes. Which is stupid because it's a quirk of my brain and it's a disability and it's not something that you can just overcome with willpower. But that doesn't make the bad feelings about yourself go away. That knowledge sits there alongside the bad feelings and they just sit and contradict each other. I contain multitudes. Anyways. Hence why for years I preferred to watch TV programs with the subtitles on. I thought that just, I don't know, I didn't question why that made it a more pleasant experience for me. I just liked to do it. Oh, oops. Welp. Freddie says, I have that with certain background noises, but no pattern as to which noises. Yeah, that's the funnest thing is that you can't necessarily predict it either. Yeah, B says, I say what a lot and then realize I did hear it after all. Yep, sometimes it takes a second. It really does. Freddie says, I usually lurk for a good while, a couple of streams until I feel comfortable and then I start interacting. Oh yeah, definitely, I get that. Sometimes jumping straight in is a lot until you've got a feel for the vibe, I think. I don't think that's unusual. But yeah. Sometimes if I know that like I would only be able to like say hello and then kind of like jump off and be AFK because like I've just got the noise of a comforting voice on in the background while I'm doing something else, I just won't say hi because I know if I say hi I'm going to get sucked into a conversation with the person because they're going to ask how I'm doing and I'm going to feel like I have to say how I'm doing and then the conversation starts and then I'm not doing the task I'm supposed to be working on while I listen. But yeah, so I lurk a lot. Katie says, I have a coin flip between that and not actually hearing the person. Oh yeah, that too. Sometimes you just don't. Sometimes it just doesn't go in at all. Freddie says, my spouse mumbles when he's tired or annoyed and combined with my audio processing is a bad combo. Oh no, I hope you're able to... I hope you're still able to find a means of communicating. B says, Mr. Beast tends to be a low talker too. Yeah, oh beans. I'm dyslexic, so subtitles don't work for me, says Freddie. Yeah, that's another layer, isn't it? Joyous. But yeah. Well, y'all, we're in good company. And we're doing amazing. So hell yeah. My head hurts real bad, but I really want to finish this painting, so I think I'm gonna try and push on through for the next few. I am taking some of this black gouache and just kind of blending it with the brown I've got over here to try and create something that I can kind of do like a softly grayish brown-ish line weight for our whites. So I'm never sure how to do like lines for my whites, my white stuffs, because I don't want to just use black because it's the deepest, boldest color. It is probably a little bit too deep and bold, if I'm being honest. Um, Compared to other colors, in that context. But on the other hand, I don't want to use like a color per se, but like sometimes gray isn't quite the right choice. It's just it's challenging. It is a challenge. But I don't want to use something that's too brownish to do the line weight for like white things because I don't want them to look dingy either. So struggles. Okay, but I'm gonna line in these little pin tucks and these little ruffles on the neckline of this lovely lady's shirtwaist. So stinking cute. My parents took all their neurospicy characteristics and gave it all to me. My sister only got half of it. Lucky me, says Freddie. I feel you. I very much do. I can't speak for my sibling because that's their business, but I definitely well, my father likes planes, not trains. But he sure loves planes and Star Trek. And I definitely got the Star Trek from somewhere. So there's that. There we go. Oh no, y'all. They're cute. Freddie says, but it's not all that, or I'm a very creative person and I would not want to give that up for anything. Oh, I completely relate to that as well. Regardless of any, like, sort of disabling aspects of my existence, I genuinely like who I am and I don't dream of being quote unquote normal. I like being myself. I wish that myself was better accommodated by the world around them sometimes, and I wish that some of the people around me had a little more understanding and expressed themselves with a little more clarity, and maybe we're not quite as loud in public, but hey, I'm still working on finding all of the different ways of making myself as comfortable as I can in a world that doesn't feel like it was built for somebody like me. Case in point, honestly, game changing. Mountaineering sunglasses. Were they expensive? Yes, they were like £100. That is a not insignificant chunk of change for me to plonk down on a thing. Like, I grant, that is spenny AF. But what they also are allow me to go out when it's sunny, and honestly, the extent to which just having the world, like the light turned down in a way that, because with regular sunglasses, like, the sun still gets in the corners of your eyes on either side of the sunglasses because they sit like a flat lens in front of your face. Well, these sit like a flat lens in front of your face, but they have little leather side shields so the light doesn't get in on either side. And that means that I'm able to just kind of like navigate my environment with the lights turned down and not have to squint as much. And that makes every other sensory input a little bit less taxing. It's such a tiny thing in the grand scheme of things, but oh my god, is it a game changer for me to just like be outside the house when it's hot and sunny out and not feel nearly as uncomfortable. I still don't like spending a lot of time standing under direct sunlight, but like, it's just so much easier to be out there just with one, sensory nightmare being reduced makes everything else so much easier to cope with because you've just got one less knife stabbed into your back while you're trying to run, So, yeah. If you are in some way, shape, or form spicy, and you think for some reason that You don't, that everybody else is able to cope with this thing without accommodations, so you shouldn't need accommodations either. Just give yourself the damn accommodation because, like, yes, you do deserve to feel better. You do. You do. You do not have to endure. If there is an accommodation that you can give yourself that will make yourself just, navigate things a little bit more easily, like, oh my god, just do it. Oh my god, just do it. Like, it's so much better. Oh my god. Freddie says I do dream of being normal, but it's a nightmare, so it would terrify me. Yeah, that's like a hard pass for me. I do not want to not be my, like, I don't know if this seems like weird and contradictory to some people, that like there's a lot that I find really frustrating and difficult and that I absolutely can't stand and have a terrible time with, and yet I don't want to not be, if I was to be like someone who didn't have any of the kind of gubbins that I have to put up with, I would also probably not be the, like, creative weirdo that I am who finds joy in, like, just the stupidest little things, and I would not trade my joy for anything, because, it's great. So, there's that. Oh, I don't know if I like the... Did I make that too sparkly? I feel like I made this too sparkly. I'm gonna have to compare against my previous, but no, I didn't make it. I did not make it too sparkly, actually. No, this is fine. I think I am gonna just make this sparkle a little bit smaller, though. Just because I think that was a little bit full on in terms of just the size of the sparkle. But the amount of sparkle was fine, actually. Because I didn't draw in the sparkles beforehand. I'm just kind of freehanding it. I'm just winging the sparkles here. I'm hoping that they look okay. Alright. Aww. I think they're cute. I think they're cute, and I think this is done because I have to go cook dinner. I hope you love them. I know I do. And I'm going to use Violet to sign it because ladies are gay. I'm going to drop a little signature down here. I'm going to thank y'all for hanging out with me today. I've had a really nice time. And next time, I think what we're going to be doing next time, don't quote me on this because I haven't 100% decided, but we're either going to just do some more bird art, or I'm going to do some stationery themed things in anticipation of things that I want to do for the autumn. So we shall see. But here they are. Here's our lady hamster. Here's our little hamster ladies. There they are. Oh, bless. I hope you think they're cute. I tried my best. Freddie says, I know what it's like when I'm not creative. As there was a part of my life, everything was put into education in my PhD, and I just got burnt out and severely depressed. I'm never going back to that. Yeah, that is a mood. I actually didn't, like, I didn't do visual art much at all for, like, a good period. Oh, geez, no, I'm not done. I'm silly. Every single time I do this, I will miss, like, one brush stroke. And then... At least I noticed it now and not later, but I just needed to fix the collar of her little shirtwaist where it meets her chin, and I've done that now, so now it's done. Brush is down. But yeah, when I was an academic, the only, like, creative work that I really had the time to do was, writing academic papers. And I missed other creative pursuits, but I kind of just set them to one side for a really long time. And coming back to being able to do this stuff now, it's just, it feels so good. It feels so good getting to do this stuff again. 'Cause I missed it. And I hope I get to keep doing this for a really, really long time. Bees says, everyone says being good at art is a matter of practice, and I am out to prove them wrong. I've been painting poorly in watercolor for like 6 years now. Hell yeah! High fives also, because same. But also, I do think that, like, there is no set timeline for improvement at a skill, or, like, artistic growth. I remember years ago somebody commented on one of my works and was like, yeah, I came to this work to see how your art has improved over the years, and, like, it hasn't at all. Don't you want to get better? And, like, A, that's really presumptuous and mean. But also B, like, some people don't care about necessarily, like, practice and improvement. Some people just want to noodle around because it's fun playing with art supplies. And that's also fine. We don't all have to be on the same journey as artists, right? But also, on the other hand, some people's, like, artistic trajectories in terms of, like, growth and improvement and learning stuff is not necessarily just, like, a straight upward line. It might be, like, you know, kind of some funky curves as you, like, you know, maybe you get kind of good at one thing, you get bored, and you start doing something that you're really bad at again. Like, it's just, like, who cares? Enjoying the process and forgiving the outcome is my whole deal. Yeah, and that's a really good reason to do art, and that's a good way to do art. And I think that I've definitely seen in, like, hobbyist / like, fan spaces the increasing kind of focus on, like, your work you have to be working towards, you know, like, getting good and improvement until some arbitrary point where it's decided that you are good now, whatever that means. Or indeed working towards being able to, like, monetize your work, which, again, not everybody wants to do, and you shouldn't necessarily be working towards that if you don't want to. Like, both of these things are optional. You can choose one, or both, or neither. Doesn't matter. Just make art if you want to. That's all, okay? Anyways. I hope people like this. You know, am I doing this partially for validation and partially also, I would say less so for personal validation, more because I want to specifically convey joy into the world via my various means of storytelling. Because this to me is a piece of storytelling. Oh my god, I just realized I forgot another thing. I keep saying I'm done and I keep noticing bits. I'm like, I really need to raid out and go make dinner. But they need to have little pink nosies! Okay, now these hamsters done. These ladies gay, these hamsters done, they're holding hands. They're gonna read each other poetry and maybe kiss, okay? I really want to paint Jimothy because that's what a raccoon that I would paint looks like. Oh man, if you haven't seen Jimothy, I don't have time to try and look it up, but Jimothy is delightful. Actually, no, it's gonna bother me if I don't, so please hold. I'm gonna find it real quick. I don't exactly know where this began, but Jimothy is like a new cryptid or something, and it's a raccoon, and I love them, and yeah, there's a lot of them. But okay, hold please. I need to get the right screen up. Also, is my Instagram not loading? I don't know. Anyways, Instagram. Okay, this is my Instagram. I have not drawn Jimothy, but please, here's some art that I have done. This is a sticker I did last year of Ezri from the Star War, with the non-beanie flag, and it says gender, I hardly know her, because I feel like that's Ezri's vibe very much, and I feel like if they made that show today instead of the 90s, I feel like they would get they them pronouns at some point during the series. It's just the vibe to me. Anyways, have you all seen Jimothy? This is Jimothy. Some kind of raccoony cryptid. I've seen Jimothy in swift passing, but I am intrigued. So I have seen so much fan art of Jimothy, y'all. This is just my. I just did a search on Blue Sky for Jimothy, but like, look at this is the artist Brian Surway who's done this Jimothy, which is absolutely incredible. The energy on this, I absolutely adore. I love their brushwork is so good for this. Oh my god! But then also. Okay, as for here on Blue Sky, just honestly, if you're on Blue Sky, just search Jimothy and you'll find all this stuff. This is also Jimothy. I love it. I love seeing this phenomenon of just a little creature emerges and everyone is drawing it. I wish that I had time to draw a Jimothy, but I have not. I've got a commission I need to finish sketching, so that is taking precedent. And then I'm going to do some sincere Star Trek fan art for myself off stream. So, yay! Jimothy's long legs and little puff of a body are so funny and perfect, and I love them. And honestly, so relatable to me as a spherical, weird, tiny human. Anyways. So, yeah, that's Jimothy. I am gonna see if there's someone online that we can do a little raid on. Because my head hurts and I have to go cook dinner. I'm sorry. But let me see who's raidable right now. Who's available? Who's online? Who can I say hi to? Is anyone doing some things? Okay, I'm gonna super, like, mega make sure that this person isn't just about to finish, because that'd be really embarrassing, because I had that happen recently. Okay, I think that person might just be ending because it is not showing up as a rateable user, so let's try someone else. Yay, I'm glad I checked. Okay, so let's just make sure that this person is not just about to finish. Please don't be just about to finish. I really need to raid out. Okay, they're not just about to finish. So let's go say hi. Doing some manner of artwork. It's Rainbow Sheep. And I'm gonna pop a little raid message in the chat if I can. If I haven't absolutely fluffed this up, and for some reason, whenever I decide it's time to raid out, my browser poops its pants. So hopefully this will work. But I just popping some ananas in the chat and a generic raid message. As always, if you have the emotes, feel free to grab the message with the emotes. If you do not have the emotes, you can just say generic raid message and use any cool emotes that you do have, or no emotes at all. It's all good. But the message is in the chat. And I'm gonna go make some taco rice now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, y'all. I've had a really nice time ranting about this, that, and the other with you. You're all breathtaking. Hope to see you again soon. I'll be back on Thursday painting something new, and I'm very excited to find out what it is along with you. So take care, everyone. Good night, and good luck.